lied to you about Joe Biden's cognitive health should never be trusted again until they have a mea culpa, an answer for what they did. You have limited hours in your day, and unless you're a super weird nerd like me or it's your job, you're probably not looking at politics multiple hours a day. So how do you know what to trust? Well, there has to be bare minimal levels of credibility before you listen to people. And when you see groups, particularly groups with power that are working in tandem, that are pushing the same sorts of narrative, that are willing to blatantly lie to you about the most obvious of things, I think that becomes pertinent in every time that they're crafting some sort of message. From the day that Trump came down the escalator in 2015, it's been one scandal after another, most of which have been complete and utter garbage. Yes, those scandals were directed against Donald Trump, but more aptly, what they were designed to do was to protect the establishment class. When you're arguing with lefties that hate Trump, the majority of them aren't embracing a political figure or ideology that they really support. Their political ideology is first and foremost, I hate Trump. They get that from a defense of the establishment. They don't want a politician coming in and upsetting the apple cart in the status quo. That's why their nightmare scenario in 2016 was Trump versus Bernie. They took care of Bernie in the primaries. They figured, well, whatever, Hillary will easily beat Trump, just like Brexit. We'll give the people their vote. Yes, yes, democracy, woo! Then they'll clearly vote for Hillary. End of story. Didn't work that way, though, did it? Their hubris undone them. And so ever since then, it's been a full court press. You talk to these people, they don't care. They'll throw any individual politician under the bus. Look what they're doing to Joe Biden today. One of the things I told Biden, because I assume he watches my show, why wouldn't he? I was like, listen, Biden, once they kicked him out of the party, I was like, come clean now, man, because these people are going to stab you in the back, particularly if Trump wins. They're going to blame you. They're going to throw you under the bus. You understand that, right? So now, while you still have leverage, you should come out and tell the truth about them. And now look what's happening. All you have to do is turn on X and look at your favorite Democrat media members. Well, we can't believe what? Joe Biden was physically and cognitively declined? We're flabbergasted. Jake Tapper, write a book about this. This is great. What? No, for real? We were duped. We were lied to. Huh, how could it be? They weren't lied to. They're not journalists. They're propagandists. The lefties that I debate, the Democrats that I debate, they don't care about Joe Biden. They care about Orange Man bad. And if they got to throw Biden under the bus to get to the Orange Man, fine. There's 10 more politicians that are establishment just like Biden that they'll endorse afterwards. They don't care. And so it'll be scandal after scandal. Trump said drink bleach. Trump said Nazis are good people. Trump misfed the koi fish. Trump wore a blue suit to the Pope's funeral. Trump's an agent of Russia. There are things to complain about Donald Trump that reasonable people could disagree with him. I complain about all sorts of things that I don't like what Trump's doing. But I'll tell you this, I'm tired of pretending that the same people that willingly lied to you and gaslit you over and over and over about a litany of things, whether it be scandals of Trump or talking up the people that are his opponents, I'm disinterested in hearing from them. And to me, the most obvious, easiest thing for people to understand is anyone that lied to you about Joe Biden's cognitive health should never be trusted again until they have a mea culpa, an answer for what they did. I am so tired of debating these people on these issues. How many times have you seen me in the past month debate these Democrats and they're like, there was no media cover-up. Look, here's 3 stories from the New York Times that mentions, well, some people say that Joe Biden has declining faculties. See, the media covered it, and I'll say, well, if that's the case, then why are members of that same media now out there saying, we had no idea that Joe Biden was cognitively declined. We were lied to by him and his administration. How could both things be true? That places like CNN, led by Jake Tapper, covered Joe Biden's cognitive decline, and now they're writing books saying we were lied to about Joe Biden's cognitive decline. How could both of those be true? I'm so sick and tired of arguing with Democrats about things that they claim absolutely happened that are just completely outside the scope of reality. Trump said Nazis were good people. No, he didn't. Trump said drink bleach. No, he didn't. Everyone talked about Joe Biden's cognitive decline. No, they didn't. And their attempts to gaslight and rewrite history should let you know the character of people that they are. Now, that's not to say that people, including myself, don't get stories incorrect. I'll go a step further. Could you say that I've been a hypocrite? Sure. I try to be less of a hypocrite than most people. I try my best to call out when I think things occur on my side that I disagree with. But absolutely, if you're someone like me that has streamed thousands upon thousands of hours, could I have said one thing one night and then 3 years later said something that seems to disagree with that? Yeah. And I don't think that that's an automatic, oh, well, if anyone ever said something that's contradictory to something they said previously, then we can't trust anything they ever say. I'm not making that claim. I'm saying when there's something so blatant, like Joe Biden's clear cognitive decline, and you defend it and say, I defend him, say, I don't see it. Like panel after panel after, I remember I was on a panel with Brianna Wu. Brianna Wu's on this panel. And Destiny, I think it was that panel. And I was like, I don't think Joe Biden's going to be the nominee in 2024. I don't think he's going to make it. Now, granted, I said most likely at that point was Michelle Obama. I was wrong about that. But I was right fundamentally about his health. I wasn't 100% certain. But the point of the story is they ridiculed me. Oh, sure. Yeah, okay. Now when I talk to lefties, they're like, yeah, we always knew that there was a problem with Biden's cognitive decline. It's always the same story. When things are happening in real time, they're like, you're a conspiracy theorist. That's outlandish. How dare you? And then years later, when it no longer affects them, when it comes to immediate political power, they're like, oh, yeah, but that was a long time ago. How about Russiagate? I was writing in 2017. I can bring up the link later if you're interested. How if it turned out that the FBI used unverified opposition research to get FISA warrants to spy on Trump's team, that it was the biggest political scandal in the history of this country. One presidential candidate taking unverified opposition research from the other candidate and then taking it, not verifying it. I guess it's redundant if I said unverified, but you get the point. And then using it to spy on the first candidate, who, by the way, all the people on the 6th floor of the FBI hated Trump. We're talking about insurance policies or #resist. Or it was led by someone like James Comey, who you could see pictures of him with his I'm with her mug after the election. In real time, when it was occurring, and it was like, whoa, when it was being used to attack like a cudgel for 4 years Trump, that he was an asset of Russia, you were a crazy conspiracy theory for thinking the FBI would do something like that. And then little by little, it turned out, actually, that's exactly what happened. And then what happens? That was a long time ago. What can you do now? Oh, well, that's regrettable. Whoopsie daisy. Anyways, we're on to the next news cycle. God willing, we'll get behind to exactly what happened on January 6th. You know, maybe the pipe bomb. Let's find out who planted that, the most serious thing that occurred January 6th. If it would turn out that it was lefties or people connected to the FBI or something that did that, and the narrative that we've been fed was, I know this is going to blow your mind, hyperbolically exaggerated to attack Trump and his political allies and his supporters, they wouldn't care. They would say it was a long time ago. The same people that scream January 6th every day would say it's a long time ago. Oh, well, what can you do now? It's a long time ago. Anyways, we're on to the next thing, a scandal of Trump. Did you see that blue suit? See the blue suit he wore at the Pope's funeral? It's always in real time, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist. We're not even going to talk about it. And then once it's proven to be true years later, well, it was a long time ago. What can you do? Always the same story. But what makes the Joe Biden cognitive decline story unique is how every single person that bothered to watch 5 minutes of Joe Biden at any time after he was elected could see that something was wrong. And yet, the people that cover him for a living and the people in political office that were surrounding him and seeing him all today, almost to a T, said, don't believe your lying eyes. It's cheap fakes. Remember the video at the Easter egg rule where the Easter bunny, literally the Easter bunny, someone dressed as the Easter bunny, had to take Joe Biden, the dawdling old man, around and show him where he was supposed to be going? This is a different story than, well, we think Trump's tariffs will be bad, or I think Trump's tax cuts will be good, and then maybe things don't work out the way you want. This is cut and dry. There's no middle ground here. Everybody could see how declined Joe Biden was. We all saw it. These people, for political reasons, lied right to your face. From the top, the people in Biden's administration, his vice president, people at the top levels of Congress, Chuck Schumer, Pete Buttigieg, to the media people that cover him, videos going viral today, as Jake Tapper's cashing in on this book going, I was duped. Oh my goodness, I was duped. Who would have known that Joe Biden was declined like that? Meanwhile, when Laura Trump was on his show and said, yeah, cognitive decline, he's haranguing her. Now, we don't have proof of that. Now he's cashing in, acting like he never did that. Well, actually, one time in my one monologue, I said the word cognitive decline, so... Why would I ever listen to anything, the people that gaslit us that blatantly, the most blatant gaslighting cover-up scandal that I've seen in my lifetime? Not necessarily the most scandalous, because I still think Russiagate and the 4 years of the FBI being weaponized against Donald Trump and protecting his opponents, I still think that's a worse scandal for the country. But when it comes to just blatantness, and I thought it'd be a tough bar to pass, I thought the blatant bullshit of, well, COVID's bad, but you know what's worse? Racism. And yes, if you try to go to work, you'll catch COVID. What do you want, grandma to die? But if you want to go march for Black Lives Matter, it's a magical virus. It doesn't spread at the Black Lives Matter rally. Isn't that amazing? If you go to the Trump rally, it'll spread. And so you can't go to the Trump rally. But if you go to the Black Lives Matter rally, racism's worse than COVID anyways, and it can't spread it. Isn't that amazing? What an amazing virus. That seemed to be a high mark of bullshittery to pass. But they did it with the, what are you talking about, Joe Biden cognitively declined? I don't see any evidence. That's outlandish conspiracy theories. That's outlandish. He's got a stutter. It's just a stutter. What are you talking about? Those are cheap fakes. Those videos you're seeing are cheap fakes. That did it. That takes the cake. Now, I'm supposed to believe this narrative. Well, we were misled. Okay, let's take that at face value for a second. Jake Tapper and the rest of the media was misled by these dastardly bastards in the Democratic Party and in the Biden administration. Okay, then wouldn't the next logical question be, I wonder what else they misled us about? Maybe we're not going to bring those people on to talk to them anymore because they lied to us and made us look like fools. Maybe that's what I would say. If I was Jake Tapper and I was legitimately misled, let's leave reality for a second and pretend that Jake Tapper's eyes didn't work. And by the way, here's how I know that Jake Tapper knew that Biden had cognitive decline. You want to know how I knew? Because I knew, and I don't have near the access to Joe Biden that Jake Tapper did, and other people at his network and his media colleagues. So if I could see it and you could see it, then I'm damn sure Jake Tapper could see it. But let's pretend he was blind or he's really busy, and he didn't see it, and he was legitimately duped. Wouldn't you be furious? The fact that basically the entirety of the Democratic Party, and it's not just Joe Biden lied to you, it's everyone in his cabinet. It's Kamala Harris, who, by the way, just ran for president. It's Chuck Schumer. It's all these other Democrat politicians that were in the room. It's people like Pete Buttigieg that said, actually, when we're talking to engineers, as Secretary of Transportation, when we're talking to engineers, oftentimes it's difficult for me and the engineers to keep up with Joe Biden. That's how with it he is. That's what Buttigieg said at one point. So if you're Tapper, the next time one of those people want to come on your show and they're like, well, Donald Trump's violating civil rights, wouldn't you say, yeah, I don't believe you. You're full of shit. Why haven't you answered for the fact that you lied to me and made me look like a fool for 4 years? But he's not going to say that. And you know how I know he's not going to say that? Because Adam Kissinger used to go on CNN, including Jake Tapper's show, and say, I've seen evidence of Donald Trump colluding with Russia. I've personally seen the evidence. And then it turned out that was bullshit. Did Jake Tapper say, well, that's it. No more Adam Kissinger on my show? No, he brings him on and acts like nothing happened. Now, how does that work? Is Jake Tapper just really stupid? Is he blind? No, it's not that difficult. It's not that they were duped. It's that they're not journalists. Their role is not informing the public. Their role isn't to hold truth to power. Their role is to protect the powerful from the truth. They were there to beat Donald Trump and to reinforce the status quo. That's their job. It's not that they didn't see the cognitive decline. It's not that they missed it because they were biased and didn't want to see it. It's that they saw it and intentionally covered it up. And now their argument is, our bad, anyways, on to the next Trump scandal. That's Kamala Harris.
That's Chuck Schumer. That's Pete Buttigieg. That's Jake Tapper and all the other people at these Democrat media outlets. That's Destiny. That's Wick. That's Pisco. That's all these lefties that I talk to.
We didn't know. We saw there was a little decline, but it wasn't that bad. And Trump's worse. Trump's decline's worse. He's worse. Do you see how stupid he is?
Excuse my language. I know that I'm not trying to swear as much anymore, but fuck them all.